Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. And today we want to revisit the ongoing issue around the Supreme Court and the justices over what is increasingly becoming that the public or the media suggests as potential alleged conflict of interests that justices of the Supreme Court, or any justices for that matter, should not be in any way, shape, or form be associated with. Now, in I think yesterday's reports, there were issues around the justices teaching and mixing with lobbying groups whilst they're not sitting as judges during recess. But now there's a very specific report, according to the newspaper and the Guardian, that says that the party payments, which highlight ties between the U.S. Supreme Court justice and lawyers. And so the report says that several lawyers who have had business before the US Supreme Court, including one who successfully argued to end race conscious admissions at universities, paid money to a top aide to Justice Clarence Thomas, according to the aide's transactions. Now, the payments appear to have been made in connection with Thomas's 2019 Christmas party. The payments, according to the report, via a mobile payment service, Venmo, to Rajan Vashist, who was Thomas's aide from July 2019 to July 2021, seem to underscore the close ties between Thomas, who is embroiled in ethics scandals after a series of revelations about his relation with a wealthy billionaire donor, and a certain senior Washington lawyers who argue cases and have other businesses in front of the justice system, according to the report published in The Guardian. Now, the paper goes on to say that Vash's Venmo account, which was public before a comment was requested for this article, but is no longer, shows he received 7 payments in November and December 2019 from lawyers who had previously been Thomas legal clerks. Now, the amount of the payments, the article goes on to say, is not disclosed, but the purpose of which is listed as Christmas party, quote unquote. Thomas Christmas party, City Christmas party, or City Christmas party, quote unquote. Now, it remains unclear what the funds were for, according to the article. The article goes on to say that the lawyers who made the Venmo transactions were Patrick Strawbridge, a partner at Consovoy McCarthy, who recently successfully argued that affirmative action violated the US Constitution, Kate Todd, White House Deputy Counsel under Donald Trump at the time of the payment, and now a managing partner of Eli George Cipolloni's law office. Albert Lynn, a former Solicitor General of West Virginia, who played a key role in a Supreme Court case that limited the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions, and Brian Schmalzbach, a partner at Maguire Woods, who has argued cases before the Supreme Court, the article says. He goes on to say that others include Manuel Vale, who clerked for Thomas last year and is now a management associate at Sidley, and Liam Hardy, who was working at the Department of Justice Office of Legal Counsel at the time the payment was made, and is now an appeal court judge for the armed forces. Will Consovoy, who died in January, also made a payment, according to the article. It goes on to say that Consovoy clerked for Thomas during 2008-2009 term and was considered a rising star in conservative legal articles. The New York Times said he had come away from working for Thomas, quote unquote, with the conviction the court was poised to tilt further to the right, and that constitutional rulings that had once been considered out of reach by conservatives on issues like voting rights, abortion, and affirmative action would certainly be within grasp, quote unquote. Now, none of the lawyers who made the payment responded to the questions from the Guardian, according to the article. And they go on to say that according to the CV, Rashid's duties include assisting justice with administrative functioning of his chambers, including personal correspondence and his personal and office schedule. Rashid did not respond to email questions from the Guardian, including about who solicited the payments, how much individuals paid, and the purpose of the payments. The Guardian also asked about the nature of Thomas's party, how many guests were invited, and where the event took place. They goes on to say that reached via WhatsApp and asked if he would make a statement. Rashid replied, "No, thank you, and I do not want to be contacted." Legal experts said the payments raised red flags, and Richard Painter, the chief White House and ethics lawyer in the George W. Bush administration, and a critic of the role of dark money in politics, said it was not appropriate, quote unquote, for former Thomas law clerks who were established in private practice to in effect send money to the Supreme Court via Venmo. He's quoted as saying that there's no excuse for it, and Thomas could invite them to his Christmas party and he could attend the Christmas parties as long as they are not discussing any cases. His Christmas party should not be paid for by lawyers, quote unquote, Painter said, and a federal government employee collecting money from a lawyer for any reason, I don't see how that works, end of quote. Painter, according to the article, went on to say that he would possibly make an exception if recent law clerks were paying their own way for the party. But almost all the lawyers who made the payments are senior litigators at big law firms. Kedrick Payne, the General Counsel and Senior Director of Ethics at the Campaign Legal Center, said that based on available information, it was possible that the former class were paying their own party expenses and no expenses for Thomas, which he believed was different to random lawyers, in effect paying admission to an exclusive event to influence the judge. He also added that, but the point remains that the public is owed an explanation so they don't have to speculate, quote unquote. Thomas, as a general observation, has been embroiled in ethics scandals for weeks. ProPublica published new revelations about how the billionaire conservative donor Alan Crowe had paid for lavish holidays for the justice, bought Thomas's mother's home, and paid for the judge's grandnephew's private school education. Thomas's chamber did not respond to a request for comment, according to the article in the Guardian. Now, there were all these ongoing reports by the media in relation to what they seem to allege were inappropriate contacts that may or may not influence judges or appear or give the appearance of influencing judges by people that may or may not appear before them. And certainly, we shall be watching developments. And those are the allegations alleged in the article. We don't get involved in any sort of individual opinions or either way. We just focus on what actually the legal issues are or the legal reports are. In this case, articles in the Guardian regarding payments that they claim highlight ties between U.S. Supreme Court justice and lawyers, quote unquote. And there we shall leave it on this episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. Thanks for listening, and let's speak again. Goodbye.